Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about why the globalists don't try and sell the benefits of globalization and diversity as our strength is one of the key slogans they throw around, and their flunky stooges in our so-called governments throw around on their behalf. But when asked to sort of, or anyone that allegedly extols the alleged virtues rather of globalization, and again, diversity is our strength, and the force feeding of the third world masses into the West, this racial diversity being our strength, I'm waiting for somebody, anybody, to say why it's a good thing. And why globalization is a good thing. What's it achieving for the people? Now, the idea is that we think that in order to sell globalization to us or convince us it's a good thing, they should say, well, this is how it's making your life better. Because this is traditionally how we think of what our governments are meant to be doing. They're meant to represent us and at least make a decent effort at making our lives better. But that's all changed. Our politicians no longer represent us. They're little flunky, dirty-kneed stooges working for the globalists. They're on their knees filleting all the globalists, and so they're not representing us, the people, anymore. So the question is it almost doesn't need to arise because it doesn't apply. The assumption that they're there, or anyone's there, the globalists are there to make our lives better, is in itself an erroneous understanding of the current world we live in. They are there to make their lives better. That's all. Not our lives, but theirs. And to get off on the power of it all and so on. But there have been some attempts, and even the lower level sort of flunky stooges that are the propagandists and the street flag wavers and placard wavers and so on, even though they repeat the slogans, but even they don't seem to know. Well, how is it? But it just is. We're all human beings, and no one seems to be able to put anything coherent forward. Not that I've seen or heard, at least. But let's go through some of the things that they have put forward to say, well, this is why diversity is our strength, which in itself, if you think about that term, it is an utter absurdity. It is trying to brainwash you. It's not trying to convince you, and there's a difference between convincing and brainwashing. And diversity is our strength is just a fucking brainwashing slogan. Interestingly, I downloaded an image online, which is from George Orwell, war is peace and all that sort of stuff. And at the bottom, diversity is our strength. And the YouTube algo got that and spiked it. So that shows how now if they were going to convince us that it was a good thing, a workable thing, or was making our lives better, or even was a strength or a benefit in any way, they would be out there shouting it from the rooftops, and they're not. All they're trying to do is shut you down for asking the question, or calling you a Nazi for not accepting their bullshit slogans. So, but here's some of the ones they say. Okay, well, all these people, these third world peasants coming in, they come to work in the West, and they bring lots and lots of skills because they're all scientists and engineers and doctors and so on. That's an outrageous absurdity. Less than 5% of all these people have any recognised qualifications. So even when you get down to tradesmen or anything, and they're certainly not doctors and engineers, very small proportion of them are. So they've got this idea that all these skills are coming in, which are making the economy grow because all these people are so fucking skilled. That is utter, total, complete bullshit. Most of the people are illiterate third world peasants who've never seen a light switch before, or a flushing toilet, or have got running water in a house or something. They're absolutely dirt poor people from utter total basket case countries, where the average annual wage might be $1,000 or $2,000 a year, although with a lower cost of living. So now, why wouldn't they want to come to the West? But they're encouraged to do so, and helped generously helped by NGOs in conjunction with the United Nations and so on. So, and that's the cause of the mass people movement. It's not about spontaneous, third world peasants living in the middle of nowhere suddenly decide let's go to the West. They're basically picked up and carried to the West by the NGOs and the United Nations, and who are indirectly and generously funding the people smugglers who are part of that little scam or big scam. So the first thing is that all these incredible skills, all these total geniuses, but out of every 100 people that are coming, less than five have any qualifications of any sort at all, and speak the language of the host country they're going to, English, for example, and so on. So most of them are IQ 80 peasants, and all they can ever do is sweep floors and that sort of thing. So that's utter crap. That's a complete and utter bald-faced lie that these people are all skilled. They're not. The next one they so there's all these people come in. They work hard. They just don't have a better life. They pay taxes, and they're real contributors to the economy, to productivity and tax revenue. That too is utter bullshit. For the ones that do work, which is not certainly not all of them. I don't think it'd be more than half. For ones that do work, they're typically on minimum wage jobs. They have to live, 10, 15, 20 people to a small apartment in order to make ends meet. Some of them send money back to their families in the third world, countries that they came from. That export of capital out of the Western countries isn't taxed, and I think it should be. But so they're not, and the government benefits they get, and there's an army of NGO activists helping them get every single Western government benefit they can lay their hands on, and so most of them are receiving quite an amount of benefits, which means that they're getting more benefits than the tax that they're paying. So say only half of them are working, which would be about right. Maybe not even half. Of those that do work, the government benefits they receive exceed the tax that they pay. So they're a net loss to the taxpayer and the exchequer and the community. So this idea that they're contributing is utter bullshit. Then there's the idea that they're bringing great social and cultural diversity to the community. Now, I don't know what they're talking about there. How many Indian restaurants can you have? At what point do you say it's a benefit? You can buy a book of recipes yourself and cook, that sort of thing. So I don't know what they're talking about there in terms of cultural benefit. So they've got absolutely no interest in our culture. I don't know. It turns out I am interested in other cultures, but the point I'm making there is that if they think they're bringing, or it's alleged that they're bringing something of great cultural value and so on, then that's utter rubbish. There's an idea of spiritual value being brought. Well, for those who want to try, different different methods like meditation, things like that. Well, fine. I wouldn't call it you can get that anyway, and somebody could visit from those countries and do a tour and do the meditation tour. I don't know why they have to come over by the millions to derive that benefit. I think that's also absolute rubbish. These people are geniuses that start up businesses, and that's utter crap as well. The odd one or two that do manage to start up things, and there are people doing it. Elon Musk is a case in point, but the odd one or two that do manage to start it up are a tiny, minuscule fraction of the ones that come over, and most of those have associations with various, the big financial end of town and so on. A lot of the, for example, Black and Indian CEOs roaming around the US now. It's all fucking affirmative action. There's no merit involved in that, for Christ's sake. So I can't find any benefit. And what the arguments that are put forward are absolutely erroneous, utter crap, absolute lies. So, but I'd be open to anyone that can tell us what these benefits are. These low IQ, Haitians, just off the top of my head, low IQ Haitians, they have low IQ children, and they all sort of need benefits and rely on. I don't know what value they add. Really, I can't see any. But maybe they do. Maybe there's someone out there who knows. Now, there's another video that I saw after I'd done the bullet points for this one, which was done by who was History Debunked, and he's put out a very good video asking, something similar, I guess, in some ways. So if you get a moment, head over to History Debunked and have a look at his video. It's pretty good. So anyway, that's my time. I'm and similar to what he says. Someone tell me why globalization is so good. And for who? Who is it benefiting? And why must it be only white countries that are suffer the full brute force, the brute crushing force of the globalization project? Where why aren't the Chinese being forced to take in lots of black Africans and by the millions? Why aren't they being forced to take in activist Muslim Arabs? Why are all the big tough activists who are so tough and fighting back against the man? Why aren't they going over to China and waving placards on the streets? If they're so tough and believe so deeply in their cause, they should be going, because China's the biggest polluter in the world. China's got some terrible human rights, but why aren't the activists going there to do it? Why aren't these young girls who are so big and tough in the streets of the West, why aren't they heading over to China and doing it there? I wonder what would happen to them. I don't think they get as easy as they do in the West. And if the courts are going to hear the case where they're creating trouble, I don't think they'll be stacked with activists to give them sympathetic hearings. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.